Hey, Billy Glisson with PowerCore 360. Today's video, we're going to talk about the top 3 reasons why practice isn't making your athlete better at their sports performance. At the end, I'm going to show you one thing you can do to make your athlete better today. Let's jump into this. I know you're a parent, you're out there, you spend a lot of time, money on clinics, on programs, on equipment, on lessons, on coaches, on instructors, right? And you're sitting there wondering, gosh, is all this worth it? My athlete doesn't seem to be getting any better, any faster, and I'm spending a lot of time, money, and effort trying to help them get better. Well, let's jump into this. Number one reason that their athlete is not getting better is practice is slow. Athletes go to practice. When it's team practice, there's a lot of other athletes there. Let's face it, there are distractions that are there. So athletes lose their focus because they're focused on other things besides what's going on. A lot of times, too, there's no specific or detailed information. A lot of coaches actually don't know how to break down the mechanics of the sport, whether it's strength and conditioning or hitting, throwing, jumping, kicking mechanics. They don't know how to break the mechanics down. They don't know how to then teach and do drills that are going to put those mechanics back together so the athlete can learn it in a stepwise, step-by-step instructional process, right? What we really want is perfect practice. So we're looking for programs, coaches, whatever the case is, that can teach and understand how to teach the athlete to have perfect practice. Practice by itself doesn't make perfection. Perfect practice does. We have to be able to break down the skills, the motions. We have to know what drills, what exercises and things we can do to teach the athlete how to perform those movements faster, but in the right specific way. You've heard about how it takes 10 years or 10,000 reps to make an athlete world class at their movements. Well, it's part of the reason it takes so many years and so many reps is it is a long-term process, but that process can be sped up or slowed down if we have a lot of distractions, we don't have specific detailed information, if we're not teaching and perfecting the practice sessions with your athlete. Number 2, what's the athlete's why? So oftentimes we talk about what's the athlete's goal when they come to a clinic or a program to work with us. We want to know what their goals are for their sport. What are their objectives? What are they trying to accomplish in their training? What are their aspirations? If we're doing a power hitting clinic with an athlete and we walk in and say, why do you want to hit the ball harder? Oftentimes they don't really have an answer. That's it. That's the end of the discussion. And we can tell them, well, they're not a very motivated athlete. And so their practice is not going to be very good because they don't walk in the door understanding what they need to do, why they need to do it. And so oftentimes the parent will say to us, hey, can you motivate our athlete? No, the answer is we can't motivate your athlete. We can ask specific questions like, once again, what are your goals and objectives? But if that athlete doesn't walk in the door with a strong why, then we're trying to push a rock up a hill, right? What we're looking for is athletes that come in, that understand why they're there, what the objectives are for their training, right? And why hitting harder, throwing harder, jumping higher, running faster will help them accomplish their goals. That way they're motivated when they walk in the door. That will speed up the process. How do you slow down the learning process? Well, just keep talking, right? What we want to do is we want to speed the learning process. And what we understand is athletes learn predominantly in 3 different ways. Number 1, by hearing, okay? It's a very slow process. For a lot of athletes, that actually irritates them and slows the process down. Most of the time, the best athletes learn best and learn fastest when first they can see and then they can feel. So see, we want to be able to show them a clear picture of the movement we want them to learn to perform. So they need to see videos, they need to see pictures, they need to have it in 3 to 4 to 5 seconds, they'll see and get what it is we're trying to teach their body to do. And then they have to have the ability to feel when they're doing the movement right and doing the movement wrong. That leads into basically, I told you the number 1 reason I told you I would give you the number 1 factor to help your athlete get better today. There it is. It's the lack of the ability to see and feel what they're doing in space. Young athletes, especially 13, 14, and 15-year-olds, they don't know where their body's at in space. So we're trying to teach them specific ways of performing movement in the weight room, right? Weight, strength, and conditioning movements on the field, on the court, wherever the case may be, hitting, running, throwing, kicking, jumping, whatever the case is, specific techniques. But if they can't feel what their body's doing because they don't know where their body's at in space, it slows the process down. What they really need is immediate and continual feedback. So for us as coaches, our programs are always live. We don't put out a pre-recorded video or pre-recorded tape and say, go do this, and expect the athlete to get better. We understand that the athlete doesn't know where their body's at in space, so we're constantly doing live training and giving them immediate and continual feedback so that we can see when their elbow, their shoulder, their hip, their back, their knee, their core is not in the right position. We give them immediate drills to know that it's not in the right position, more importantly, to know what it feels like and looks like to put it in the correct position and move it as we want. If you like this video, give us a like down below. If you're interested in further information about our live clinics, either on site or online, or if you're interested in our products or services, the information will be in the links in the description down below. If you want further information beyond that, please go to PowerCore360.com.